What's going on, guys? Alex here with 814EDC, and today we are going to be doing my full review of the Kansept Cybin. So this is, of course, in via the Lefty passaround group, and I have really enjoyed this model. As you guys can tell, it is definitely a little bit out there as far as designs and aesthetics, but it's very functional, very practical, and also very simple at the same time. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into the review. Starting off with materials, you guys can see that it is a very, very light bronze frag pattern here on the titanium scales. Frag pattern to me is, I could take it or leave it, but, every once in a while, because I don't have anything in my collection with frag pattern, it is kind of nice every once in a while to get in a knife on the channel that has it, just because, it's a little refresher on it, and it's nice to experience it every once in a while. So I do like the frag on this. It's very, kind of minimum. I mean, it's definitely, like, you can tell it's frag, obviously, but it's not like super deep cuts. So when it comes to ergos, it's pretty comfortable in hand. You get a backspacer, a titanium clip that is, kind of interesting from a design standpoint. It is righty only, which is, kind of expected with a frame lock, but righty only there on the titanium clip. It is a frame lock, of course, like I just said, and you get a very interesting blade shape. And on Kansept's website, which I will leave a link to down below, if you guys are interested in checking out the Cybin, whether it's this version or the other two, which we'll touch on in a minute, there is not a specified blade shape on the website. However, the designer behind the Cybin is Scott Stills of Edgy Blade Works, who primarily makes custom fixed blades, as the Cybin was a fixed blade model before he just, wanted to bring it to life with Kansept and make it a folder. He said that the Cybin is named after a psychedelic compound found in over 200 species of fungi, and it basically, he just says it has a funky blade shape, which I wholeheartedly agree. This thing is definitely funky. Like I said in my unboxing, I think this thing reminds me of a rhinoceros. As far as blade shapes are going, you have kind of a clip point with like a harpoon. So like a clip poon, a harp point, I guess you could say. It's definitely interesting, but again, very practical, very, EDC friendly at the same time. Nice low tip there. It is in S35VN, so you guys can see right there. There is a model number and Kansept's logo, and on the back there is Scott's or Edgy Blade Works designer logo, maker's mark. It is Cybin there up in the corner. My phone will focus, and then it is serialized or numbered. This is number 52 out of 300. As far as internal milling goes, if you guys can see that, there are some pockets on both sides, which is very, very nice. Makes it definitely a little bit lighter weight. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all, all we're talking about as, as far as materials go. So as always, you guys know, 5 out of 5 is pretty much an automatic when it comes to materials in my review process. As I mentioned earlier, there are 2 other variations of this knife. So you have this one with the bronze anode, which again, this is probably one of my favorite bronze. I mean, you guys know I am a very big fan of bronze, if I can reach it. My Devo Knives Mini Growler I have in the burnt bronze tie and black wash. But you guys can see it's very different when it comes to, like, you can clearly tell this. This, you would probably have to pick it up and kind of fidget with it for a little bit to realize that it is burnt bronze. It's almost just like a little bit of a brown tint, but I really like it. It's very light, light on the eyes, so it's very nice. The other version is, well, the second version is just a, excuse me, is it? Okay, so you have a stone-washed blade on this one. Obviously, the other one, I think, is stone-washed too. And then it's just a plain tie, black hardware. Looks very, very good too, but you don't have any frags. So if you guys are interested in just a plain Jane titanium version, they have that. And then you can also get a Damascus bladed version with a black wash titanium in the frag as well. A little bit more of a bougier model. However, it's only $10 more than the standard stone wash titanium, and the same price as this one. So if you guys are interested in, Damascus, typically they are more expensive, but for some reason it's the same price as this one on the website, which is pretty cool. So yeah, as always, like I said, there will be linked down below if you're interested in checking them out. Next, we have Aesthetic. And I think this thing looks great. It kind of was on my radar when I saw it come out, and I was pretty excited to check it out whenever I saw Kevin threw it in the passaround group. I think I was somewhere in the middle, so it took a little while to get to me, but I think it looks really, really good. You know, the clip is very functional, but from an aesthetic standpoint, it's kind of funky, but I really, you know, have grown to enjoy it. Again, the frag pattern I think looks good. I love the very light bronze anodizing they have on there, and the blade shape is just like, it may not be everyone's cup of tea. Like I wouldn't want my whole collection to be, you know, based around blade shapes like this. However, I think it's very, very, you know, good. I really do. Whoops. Sorry guys, I apologize. I have a life-proof case on my phone, and I typically like to open the charging port, so hopefully my voice wasn't too muffled, because usually it lets in sound in and out a little bit easier. But back to aesthetic, it's very, very, you know, it's funky, but yet it's clean at the same time. I mean, you have nice simple lines here on the handle, and again, the blade shape is just so different. I just feel like you have to enjoy it. So as far as the aesthetics are concerned with the Cybin, easy 5 out of 5. I think this is, you know, as far as funky blade shapes and as far as, you know, being out there, it's one of my favorite knives, I think, that, you know, holds that category. Moving on to action. So of course you have a hole here. It is definitely a skinnier hole, more elongated. For thumb flicking, I kind of just land right up here in the corner and it flies out. I'm gonna say the D10 is, I would say, medium. You know, I wouldn't say that it is stout by any means. And I will say it does take a little bit of, you know, practice to get to where you know you need to put your thumbs and your middle finger. But thumb flicking is decent. It's pretty good. You know, I really have no complaints. Again, you kind of just shove your thumb up here into the corner of it, and you build pressure and it flies out. I do prefer the reverse flick though, as I usually do with most knives. You know, just palm or pad of your middle finger. Whoops. I say that as I mess it up on camera. But it's, you know, very, very nice. Very, you know, it feels snappier with the reverse flick. And then of course you have the frame lock. You get a nice little bit of scalloping there. Plenty of lock bar access. Drops to your nail like so. A few micro shakes and it's home. Drops to your nail. One big shake and it's home. You can of course slow roll it out. Not the easiest to, but again, once you get to, you know, knowing where you're going to put your thumb, it is a lot easier, as long as you are not building pressure on the lock bar, but that's not too much of an issue. So as far as action is concerned, is it the best action in the world? No, but it's consistent, it's clean. You know, would I prefer a slightly stronger, stiffer D10? Absolutely. But I really have no issues with it. You guys can see it's pretty fun to fidget with. Nice controllable action there on the close. And there is no blade play, so it's locked up really nice and tight, and you're still getting that buttery smooth action. I would feel regressed to not give it anything, you know, less than a 5, because really there's no complaints. So yeah, we're going to give it a 5 out of 5 and move on to acoustics. Now this is where, of course, we're going to lose points, where, you know, we typically always do for my reviews. You guys can see here, I mean, it's for a titanium frame lock with plenty of internal milling. It's not really doing too much for me. I mean, you're still getting, yeah, the satisfying thwack, but there is no, you know, remnants of being high-pitched at all. I mean, you're not getting any of the tings, the rings, any of those things that, you know, we typically have become sought after when it comes to titanium frame locks. Oops. Yeah, I don't know. It's not great, if I'm being honest. And I know, like I say in pretty much every one of my reviews, if you're going to take anything with a grain of salt and be very opinionated when it comes to my review process, definitely take the acoustics. You know, it is definitely the most interchangeable, I feel like, when it comes to knives for different people. But I don't know. I'll give it, I don't know. I'm not impressed at all. Really, I'm not. Like, it's okay. It's just not doing it for me. And really, like, that's going to be kind of the, I'm going to go 3.75. I said earlier in the year when I did like my resolutions video, I said I wanted to start incorporating, like, you know, not just doing 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5. I want to start doing some, like, you know, 3.25, 3.75, 4.25, 4.75, things like that to kind of break up my scores a little bit. So I don't think that it's a little bit better than a 3.5, which you guys know is my standard, you know, sort of score when it comes to acoustics. So I'm going to do that. It's going to be my first ever, you know, score that isn't a full number or a half a number. So we're going to go 3.75 and move on next to ergos. And ergos, you know, fortunately for us, getting back onto, you know, the good parts of the review, very, very comfortable. Like I said earlier, the frag pattern is slight. I mean, it's there, but it's not like overly aggressive. You guys can see I can get all 4 fingers in this knife very, very easily. Very comfortable. The design is simple. I mean, you have pretty much, like, you have a few finger grooves down here, and you have a little bit of a taper back here, but it's a very simple, clean handle. You know, you guys can tell just by looking at it, it's going to be comfortable. So it is indeed very comfortable. The clip is not causing hot spots in the slightest. It's nice and flat. You know, it's a little bit pokey up here, but not the biggest deal, because, you know, it kind of just buries into your hand and I can't feel it whatsoever. Up here on the blade, you get, you know, no jimping, but you do get a nice, you know, it's on the thicker side of, I would say, a medium blade stock, but it's very comfortable. You get a nice poon right here. Your thumb can either land right here if you're in saber grip, or as I like to do it, you land right out here into this poon, and that gives you great control for push cuts, gives you a little bit extra power, you know, pushing through different things, different materials. Just very, very comfortable, easy to handle, easy to hold. You know, not straining your hand in the slightest. You know, you can tell that this is designed to be a comfortable user, as, you know, Scott has done, you know, fixed blades his whole life, and, you know, usually fixed blades are comfortable, and yeah, so I really, you know, have no complaints. Very, very comfortable, very easy to use, very easy to handle. We're going to give it a 5 out of 5 on the ergos. Next up, it is carry. It is a righty-only knife, unfortunately, but that's due to the frame locks that is kind of understood a little bit. Now, as far as how deep the knife goes into your pocket, you do have about that much sticking up out. You know, just due to, you know, handle design, you're going to get that tip. I would have loved to see maybe the clip be mounted maybe like up here, you know, kind of nestled into that corner, to make it a little bit deeper in pocket, and maybe even made it into a one, you know, I always complain about that, but I would love to see, I really have no issues with making a clip into a 1-screw clip, just because, you know, that gives you a little bit extra room. So, you know, it doesn't go super deep in the pocket, which I guess is a little bit, you know, I just feel like it could have been a smidge better, but that's neither here nor there. It goes in and a pocket very comfortably. You know, it doesn't look like you have a ton of leverage there, ton of leeway, but you really do. You know, I've never had issues with going in and out of jeans pockets or any other pockets I've had it in. You have no flipper tab, no jimping, anything like that to possibly catch on, you know, your hands on while you're pulling the knife up out of your pocket, or excuse me, to catch your hands on while you're going past the knife, possibly pulling the knife up out of your pocket. You know, it's very lightweight. I apologize, guys. As I just said that, I realized I did not give you guys any full specs, so that is very unlike me. I apologize. That is, you know, my fault. So some quick specs real quick. You have an overall length of 7.59 inches, a blade length of 3.29. You get actually the weight isn't on here, so I do apologize. I don't know why Kansept doesn't list their weights on their website. That doesn't really make sense, but it is lightweight, you know, for, I'd say, a medium-sized knife. You know, you're not getting too much weight weighing down in the pocket. But I am going to knock it, you know, a little bit of a point, because I feel like that could have been mounted a little bit better, and the deep carriness could have been, you know, improved. But I'm gonna go 4.75. I really think, it was close to being a perfect carry, but I just, from a clip mounting standpoint, I feel like it could have been a smidge better. But again, take that with a grain of salt. And then yeah, our last category that brings me to is price point / value / would I recommend this knife. So on Kansept's website, we have the Cybin coming in at $168.89. So 170 bucks, which will get you this version as well as the Damascus bladed version, which I said is a steal. I think if you are a fan of Damascus or Damasteel, I think that's a great price because typically they are much more expensive. And then you can get the plain titanium version for 160 bucks, so $10 less, but I think 170 bucks is a great price for this. I'm not going to say it's like the best value because you can get titanium knives for, with M390, 20CV, specifically looking at you, Asher knives for, 1 to 150. But I have no issues with S35 yen. It's a great steel. I feel like it's just kind of a boring steel at this point, but regardless, it does what it needs to do. It's a great user. But I think it's a great design. If you're looking at that standpoint for a price point. Yeah, I mean, can I recommend it? Absolutely. If you guys are interested in this blade shape, and I really, highly suggest checking it out. I know this is a pretty limited model. I am not sure if it's out of 300 altogether. I would assume it is. Maybe, maybe each model, each variant has 100, total number. So 300 in total. So it's relatively limited. So if you guys are interested, I highly suggest going over and checking it out. I've really enjoyed my time with it. I think it's a great model. And can I recommend it? Absolutely. It's very comfortable in hand. It's a relatively good carry if you don't really, care too much about deep carry. Good cutter, very usable blade shape, despite it being kind of interesting looking. Good action. Kansept is doing well with the build quality and the few Kansepts I've handled recently. Good size. Yeah, I mean, it's a great knife, guys. So as far as that goes, I am going to knock it, again, a smidge for value, because there are better values out there for materials and prices. But not by much. I'm going to give it another 4.75. Let me count up here. I do have a little bit more math than I typically do, but I'll get back to you guys in 1 second. Alrighty, guys, so I have the Kansept Knives Cybin coming with a score of 32.25, which just gets it into the fantastic category, and I'm glad it made it there. I think it's a great knife. It really is fantastic. Just a few small nitpicks, and again, the biggest one being the acoustics, and that's probably the most opinionated, most thing you can leave off of reviews. So I highly suggest going over and checking out the Cybin. Huge shout out to Kevin over at Lefty DC for always allowing us to check out cool stuff. This was definitely, one pretty high on the list for excitement. And yeah, so I'm going to wrap this up now, but this was my full review on, again, the Kansept Knives Cybin. But yeah, huge shout out to you guys for always supporting, loving, liking, subscribing, commenting, doing the things you do. And yeah, so I'm going to wrap this up now, but thank you guys again so much for watching. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you guys. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your morning, evening, day, night, whenever you're watching this, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.